Evening, everybody. Hopefully that's live on all of my different pages. It looks like it is. I've got ticks everywhere. So it's 7 o'clock on a Tuesday evening, which is my normal time for going live. It's like tuning in to EastEnders on a weekly basis, but a lot less dramatic, I can tell you that. Awesome to see any of you that are here. You can see what my name is. It's on the screen. It's Mandy Nicholson, and I am a creative genius consultant, and I'm an artist, an author, and I help female entrepreneurs. Hey, I still can't see your name. You have to add yourself on StreamYard. I think it's in the comments above before I can see your name. So just let me know who it is. I hate saying hey without knowing who it is. So yeah, I help female entrepreneurs to create, grow, build, and leverage their businesses and make more money. And money is what I'm here to talk to you about tonight. And honestly, I get so excited talking about money and how to manifest it. So this could go on for a while. I'm just warning you. You might want to watch on replay at a later date if it's too much tonight. I'll try and keep it concise, and I'll try and keep it succinct. But when I start to talk about money, I do get very excited. And I've got a great offer for you tonight. I don't normally do that on my lives, but I've just got such a great offer this week. It's Nick. Oh, hello. Hi, Nick. I've just got such a great offer, and this is continuing into next week. So I've changed the background. You've got a different naked lady in the background this evening. I like to change the naked ladies up occasionally as well. So here we go. Let's talk about money. And I don't want to just talk about money. I want to talk about the law of attraction, because I think there's a misconception where the law of attraction is concerned. Now, if you haven't read the book, The Secret, and if you haven't studied the law of attraction, and if you haven't watched the film, The Secret, then you need to go and do it, because that's a starting point for many, many people. And that was my starting point around about 12 years ago now. Love her. She's beautiful. Oh, thank you. Yeah, she is. I wish I had boobs like that. That's all I'm going to say on that one. So yeah, I started my journey into the law of attraction about 11, 12 years ago now. So it's something that I have consistently studied through that time. I was fascinated by this concept that you could have anything. You could create anything in your life, that you could manifest anything that you wanted in any area of your life. And actually, it's really difficult to train your mind to believe that concept initially when you start digging into it and when you start looking into it. And I did a lot of study. I do that with everything. I like to know a lot about things. I like to dig into them. I like to find out as much as possible about stuff. So I'd been studying the law of attraction, and I'd been playing the game, going through the motions, sticking post-it notes on doors, and kind of doing what it said without really understanding the backdrop. Love The Secret. It was my intro to laws of attraction too. The Secret is honestly, the film, it's so dramatic and it's so Americanized, but it's such a great film. I think they explain it really well on there. I mean, I know it's had a lot of criticism. But it's also changed a lot of people's lives. So what I want to talk to you tonight about is the reality of manifestation and how it's hard work. And I spoke in a group last night, and I mentioned some of the examples that I'm going to use tonight. But I want to talk to you about why money is the biggest thing that everybody thinks about when it comes to the law of attraction. And what I hear most is, I've tried the law of attraction and it didn't work, and I've still got no money, so it's a load of shite. That's what I hear so often. I hear that said to me. Or I've tried the law of attraction, it didn't work for me. It's not the law of attraction that wasn't working. It's the fact that you're not doing it right. But it's more than that. It's a story. And tonight, that's how I want to tell it, as a story, because I had everything. I had always been using the law of attraction unbeknown to me. because I always had a positive attitude. I've always had goals. I've always had a very clear vision. I've always gone out to get what I wanted. I knew what I wanted, and I went out and got it, even if I couldn't do what I wanted to do. So I went to art college, and I ended up with a job in retail because I couldn't get a job doing what I loved. So I compromised. It didn't stop me in my tracks. I just changed direction a bit. And I think that's part of life and the law of attraction, is that you just adapt to the situation. One of my very favorite quotes of all time is that it's not the strongest of the species that survives, nor the most intelligent. It's the one that's most adaptable to change. I told my mum about it. She said, I've tried your law of attraction. It doesn't work. I've heard that so many times. My own sister. I've heard it so many times. So yes, it's not the most intelligent, nor the strongest of the species. It's the one that's most adaptable to change. And I love that. I adopted that. That's a Charles Darwin quote from The Origin of the Species. And I love it. I really resonate that it's always the person that can accept and adapt to change that is always going to have the biggest amount of success, the most noticeable amount of success. So that's where it starts. Now, change can't start until you start on doing your internal work, and your internal work starts with forgiveness. And that, for me, is the foundation of everything in life. I learned this the hard way 11 years ago when I had my series of unfortunate events and I lost everything. And I learned that until I released myself by forgiving everybody and everything that had happened to me that I perceived to be unfair or wrong, I could not move forward at pace, or with big vision, or with big goals, and move into change easily and accept change easily. So that was my number one lesson. So what I don't want to go through that whole story of how I lost everything. Anybody who's been following my story will know that 11 years ago, I was literally homeless. I was made homeless by my landlord and ended up living in a council house in Amble with 30 quid in my bank account and a crappy old car. And, really nothing, because I'd been on a 6-figure salary. I'd had real success in my career and my life. And due to a series of bad decisions on my part that I had to take full responsibility for, forgive people and say it was my fault for the choices that I made before I could move on and create amazing change in my life. So that's kind of the backstory. So I want to talk to you about how I went from having £30 in my bank account to having £500,000 last year and buying my dream home for cash over a 10-year period. But first of all, let's talk about money in general. It's that thing, isn't it, that we all have a very, very different opinion about. And those opinions that you have about money and your money mindset and where your blocks and your struggles are come from your beliefs that have been assimilated from 7 years old. Did you know that from 7 years old, you start to assimilate other people's beliefs around money? So if you're surrounded by people who think money is evil, that, rich people are lazy, that money doesn't grow on trees, or I'm not made of money, and you've heard all these statements going around again and again and again, you start to believe them as truths, when in actual fact, they are just opinions, sometimes just sayings, sometimes hand-me-downs. They're almost bigger hand-me-downs than your grandma's knickers. Honestly, these sayings about money continue to go around. We have so many similarities. Love how much we resonate. Thank you. So these things that we believe. But here's some facts. So we're in the UK. I'm in the UK. I don't know where you are in the world, but tell me where you are in the world. Put a hashtag and tell me where you are. I'm in the UK, and the UK has an outsized economy. Did you know that? An outsized economic impact in the world. It's the 80th biggest country, but it has the 5th largest GDP in the world. In fact, in 2018, the GDP was I had to write this down, by the way, I'm looking at my notes here, £2.217 trillion for such a small island. And did you also know guys, you're getting educated tonight, that nearly 5 million people are now self-employed. That's a 45% increase since the year 2000. So people are becoming entrepreneurs. UK, hey. People are becoming entrepreneurs now more than ever. And that's how they are changing the wealth. Did you know there's as much money circulating around this economy right now and the world's economy than there was before COVID? And that won't change. There'll always be the same circulation of money. It's just distributed differently for a while during times of recession and economic growth. Hey, Charlie. So there's a little bit of education for you. So there's never really been a better time to be manifesting money. And how do you manifest money? You manifest money through everything that you do, through your thinking and through your behaviors. And that's how I did it. So how did I go from £30 in the bank to having $500,000 last year? So I didn't rob a bank. Nobody died and left me a fortune. I didn't do anything illegal or immoral to get that money. I educated myself first and foremost. So I say I lay the foundations first. I forgave those that did things wrong to me. I let go of all the negative energy that was holding me back from change. That's so important. You've got to release that negative energy. And if Charlie's still there, I'm sure she'll agree with me there. You cannot move forward or do anything positive if negative energy is pulling you back. You need to be pulled forward towards your big goals and your big desires in order for you to make change happen. And if change and wealth is what you want, that's the first place you've got to go. Letting go of wrongs and taking full responsibility for every single decision that you've made in your life, no matter where it's caused you to end up. Believe me, it was all your fault. You've made the choices. You might not have made informed choices. You might have made, you may have chosen the wrong partner. You may have chosen the wrong job, the wrong business partner. It could be any number of things that the reason that you've made the wrong choice or a bad choice may not be your fault, but you still did it. So it was your responsibility. Until you can let go of the negativities and take full responsibility, you cannot go charging forward into change. So I had 30 quid. I was living in a council house. But do you know what? I found gratitude. I found huge gratitude for having a roof over my head, some money in the bank, no matter how little it was, and a car that got me from A to B. I was able to find gratitude for what I already had. So I was focusing on the positives and not the negatives. That enabled me to come up with a plan. And that's where you start. You start with a plan that says, okay, what can I do in the next 6 months? What can I do in the short term to get me out of the fix that I'm in? So I had a look around the area that I was in. I ended up in a council house in Amble in Northumberland, which was near the sea and a real tourist area. So there were loads of holiday cottages and hospitality. So I set my own cleaning business up. I'd gone from being a senior leader on a 6-figure salary, lost everything, gone bankrupt. If you want to read the story of that, you need to read my book. And then I ended up with a cleaning business. It was a real come down. I was quite ashamed initially, but I soon got over that and again found gratitude that I had something up here that enabled me to say, what are the opportunities right now where I am so I can make money? Yes, there's a lovely spot. So I set my own cleaning business up and that expanded. And through that, I met some great connections, which led me into having my own financial services business. This didn't happen quickly. This was over a period of 10 years. What I did do when I had £30 in my bank account and my council house, when I started earning money, I looked at what was the very base minimum that I needed to live on. And I lived on that. And then every penny I earned above that, I started to invest it. It may have only been 20 quid one week or 40 quid, but it soon grew as the business grew. as I took on more and more work and took on more and more people, I was able to grow that business, but keep my costs the same and start to invest my money. So then I ended up in a financial services business with a little bit of money invested and learned lots about financial services. I educated myself, really educated myself. I read books, I took courses, I did lots of things. The more knowledge you have, the more power you have, and the more able you are to step into change. So I educated myself and I invested hi Claire, I invested every single penny that I could into lots of different places. I didn't keep it in one place. I had a relatively small pension, not tiny, but smallish. It had come from being a senior leader. And I investigated pension experts and I interviewed them and I took on my favorite pension experts and I said, right, well, how can we turn this money into something big? And so I spent my time looking at the money I was bringing in and investing it wisely and putting it to work for me and giving it a purpose. So here's one of the big things. If you want to attract money, money has to have a purpose in your life. If you have money, so I want you to do this. This is an exercise for you. I want you to go and have a look around your house and I want you to look in your purse or your wallet and I want you to just have a general look around the house. Have you got money lying around your house without a purpose? Do you have it in bank accounts without a purpose allocated to it? That's one of the things I learned about money because I only needed what I needed to live on. So therefore, everything above that, I allocated a purpose to it. So it either went into grow my pension fund, or it went into a stocks and shares ISA, or it went into pensions for my children. I'm an ex-pensions analyst. Oh, awesome. I'm a pensions expert myself now because that's the thing I turned. I turned my pension into a £500,000 pot, but I also turned all the other savings into lots of different pots of money. So I started pensions for my children. My children were 12 when I started the pensions, 12 and 14. Both had ISAs, stocks and shares ISAs for both of them. They've both got bonds that mature at age 25 that will pay the deposit on their first house. But they were all small when I started them, and I've increased them as I increased my income coming into my business. So I built my cleaning business and sold it and went into financial services. I met new connections, learned new things, invested money. I'm a super manifester. That's me. I'm a manifesting guru. And then I started another business in wills and estate planning. So it's been about, one of the things I set out to do when I lost everything was I was just going to say yes to every single opportunity that came up, because you never know where it's going to take you. I follow my intuition. And if something presents itself to me, I say, could this be a positive? Should we give it a punt? I'm a bit of a risk taker. And those risks have paid off, but they've all been calculated risks because I've educated myself really, really well so that I understand what I'm getting into. And that includes marriage, guys, because along the way, I have been really terrible at marriage. So my marriage is one of the many things I lost 11 years ago. And I said I was never getting married again. However, I know I was saying that for a couple of years, but I wanted, if I was going to get married again, I wanted to marry the perfect man for me. I wanted to manifest the perfect man for me, as well as the money, as well as all the other things, security for my children, savings for my children. I wanted to have it all. And I worked with a model in my program. Love that line. I work with a model in my program called the perfect square, and that's how I look at life, like a perfect square. Okay, and I believe that if there's one side of the square that is out of balance or you're not focusing on, then that square is going to collapse and your life is not going to feel balanced. And the perfect square is love and relationships, health, wealth, and self-expression. So if you are not putting energy and effort into all those 4 areas of the perfect square, and that comes from a model mentioned by Florence Scovel-Shinn in her book, and she was a super manifester. She was a Victorian lady. In 1928, she wrote a book, and she was a spiritual leader and probably one of the very first ladies who ever spoke out about attracting and manifesting what you want in life. So in 1928, folks, nearly 100 years ago, this book was written. And she mentions this balance of life in all those areas. So if you don't have balance in health, wealth, love, and self-expression, there's something missing, and you're not able to have balance in your life. So I look to all those areas of my life, and I still do, and make sure that I'm not out of balance, that my goals lie in the area that needs the most focus at that time. And that's what helps you to manifest. Not heard of that square, thank you. Yes, the perfect square. I actually include it in my signature program as quite a big part of how to manifest, keeping balance in your life. So manifestation is about having very, very clear goals, but taking action to get there. So when I said to you, I manifested 500,000, I did it through the investments and the strategies and the decisions that I made over a 10-year period. I did it over building my businesses by expanding them and saying yes to every single opportunity. Now, what I'm going to say to you is what I said probably 10 minutes ago. Nearly 5 million people are now self-employed in this country, a 45% rise since the year 2000, which, funnily enough, is 10 years ago. More people have decided to take control of their destiny. Why? Because who wants to work for somebody else? I didn't want to anymore when I lost my career. My beloved career in the retail world at this very senior level. I didn't want to work for anybody anymore. I wanted to work for me, and I wanted to create my own wealth, learn how to do it and do it well. And I've done it consistently. This is my 4th business in those 11 years. So the reason I now have this business, the business I'm talking to you from and about tonight, is that my husband, who died only 5 weeks ago now, who was the love of my life, I manifested him because we were souls that were meant to connect. He was the most amazing man I've ever met in my life. I'll never meet another like him. He was amazing. And he and I just connected at a level I've never known before. And I only had him for 7 years. He had a life-limiting condition. He died 5 weeks ago. But he left me with a legacy. He pushed me to do what my soul was pulling me towards, what I really, really wanted to do, which was this: to help creative women to launch their businesses and find out how to manifest this level of wealth into their lives. I'm an artist, I'm an author, and I'm a creative genius consultant, and I love every second and every breath I take in my business. Thank you. And it's just, see, when you're happy with what you're doing, then that's how you begin to really get traction and enable yourself to manifest the wealth. And in all areas of the perfect square, the wealth, the health, the love, and the self-expression that you need in order to live a balanced life. So unless you make the decision to change something, have a really clear vision of where you're going. So when I found my perfect home last year, which was not what I expected, I didn't only manifest it, I anchored myself to it. I visited the show home every single weekend with mood boards under my arm, sticking pictures on and checking colors. And I anchored myself to the feeling of already living there. I knew I was already living there. I knew I already had the money to pay for that. I had no doubts whatsoever that all my investments would perform and give me this £500,000 that was on my vision board for 7 or 8 years. And do you know what I actually manifested last year? £500,000 was on my vision board for many years. I manifested 498,000 and around about £200. So do you think I was disappointed that it didn't quite reach 500,000? No, because it was near enough and it got me what I wanted. And I still have 6 figures in savings, and all of those savings for the children. And then I launched this business on Boxing Day, for those of you that have been following me ever since then. So on Boxing Day, it was my launch of my website, and when I really opened my business for trading, my business, the Creative Business Academy. and what I'm doing now. And since then, I have been successful with this business. Why? Because I knew I would be, because I've got a goal, I know where I'm going. And it's a service business. It's a soul-centered business that is about helping people, helping women to become all that I have managed to become over the last 10 years, to become wealthy, to become settled and happy and content, and know that her children are looked after, and that even if I die, they've got pensions, they've got bonds that mature that get them on the property ladder, and I own this property, so they get this as well. And the massive life insurance. In fact, I shouldn't talk too loud. They'll be plotting my demise as I'm talking. So I shouldn't talk too loud, should I? So, but what's important is when you find the solution to that, and when you actually get to the point where you know you're in a really great place and you want to help other people to get there too, it's really important that you try and help other people to understand that. To share the story honestly of how you've got there. And I had no magic tricks, guys. I didn't have to do anything dodgy. There was no magic over this time. It was just about education, vision, momentum, not keeping the negatives. It literally was an educating myself and going doing it. No use educating yourself and then not doing anything with it, is there? The country, the world, not just the country, the world is always going to go through a cyclical state all the time, okay? That's going to happen. And it's a 4-part state that everybody is going to go through. There's always a stage of expansion. There's always peak, which is when we're at our highest performance in the economy. There's always contraction, so where things start to go on the down cycle, and then there's trough, or recession. That's the economic cycle. That's what history has taught us since we've been measuring it. That's how things go. Now, the UK has been in recession now for almost 10 years. In recession, interest rates are high. You get nothing on your savings, and things are difficult. Companies go out of business, there's bankruptcies, and you get pandemics or global disasters, which is what we're in at the moment. We're actually probably at the real bottom, black trough of the recession, having experienced a pandemic. It doesn't get any worse than this. This is as bad as it gets. There are riots in America because white people just don't know how to treat Black people equally, and that's frustrating. I'm not even going to get into that one on this one, but it's part of where we are right now in this trough, this really the bottom peak of the recession. So guess what? This is where I went to 11 years ago when I hit rock bottom. We've hit rock bottom. Do you know where the only place to go is when you hit rock bottom? The only place to go when you hit rock bottom is up. So the question I'm going to ask you right now is, are you ready while we're sitting here at the bottom, our rock bottom? Are you ready to do something different, to manifest what you really want when we come out of the other side of this? What are you doing? If that's what you want, give me a hell yeah in the comments, please. Give me a hell yeah, I'm ready. Because if you're ready, then you know what? I've got an offer for you on here tonight. I don't normally do offers on my lives, never usually do it, but I have tonight. You'll see the link somewhere at the top of the comments. It's also in the top. I'm going to post it again to make sure everybody's got it. Because when you have got the system down and you know what you're doing and you've got yourself to a place where you're okay, it's important that you give something back. So I have a free mini money mindset program that I've shared before. Hell yeah, I got a few hell yeahs there. I'm excited for listening to this. I'm ready. Thanks, Claire. I'm ready. I always think of SpongeBob when I do that because my kids used to watch SpongeBob all the time. So I've got a free mini money mindset program that I've shared before, and I'm going to put that out. It's on the link, but I'm also, my full money mindset program is normally £497, and I've slashed the price of that for the next 10 days to £199, so that anybody out there that's struggling with their money mindset right now can maybe look at taking advantage of that program. You can certainly do the free one if you can't afford to do the one that's down to 199. So I wanted to give something back as best I could and get as many people through that as possible. Because once you start to work on your money mindset, it changes everything. It absolutely changes everything. And I'm going to extend this in my group, Ready to Rise, where I work with my soul sisters, Leanne MacDonald, Natasha Holland, and Sarah Noel. Next week, this Thursday, I'll be doing a Money Mindset Live like this. And next week, I'm running a 7-day challenge where I'm going to be sharing tips every day and doing videos every day. And I'm going to be doing a giveaway all week in that group. So if you're not in the group or the page, get Ready to Rise. Look it up now. I'll put some links in after I finish this live so you can find it. Get Ready to Rise. Running this 7-day challenge next week, all about money mindset. And I'm giving away 3 copies of my book throughout the week at random times. I'm going to run the promotion on my money mindset course through the whole of next week. And at the end of next week, I'm going to give away a free place, a free enrollment on my money mindset program for one lady in that group. So there's going to be a huge giveaway next week. And this is about me saying, do you know what? We're at this rock bottom. I want to help people to grab hold of it right now and say, I want to go back up after all of this. I'm ready to bounce back up. I am not going to stay at rock bottom. That's what I said to myself 11 years ago. I am not going to stay at rock bottom. There's no way I'm staying down there. And I want to give that opportunity to as many people as possible over the next week so that they, hey, Anna, so that they can also start to think differently, because the moment you start to think differently about money, manifesting it, and all those 4 areas of the perfect square that makes up your life, then you can start to invite change into it. And there's no rocket science in there, guys, but there is an expectation that you need to do some work. And only when you immerse yourself in these sorts of things can you make change happen. So that is my money mindset and manifestation training for tonight. I hope that has brought you some benefits. I hope that's given you things to think about, because remember, there's never been a better time than now. And I'm not being one of those cheesy guys. Hey, hell yeah, I'm definitely ready. Awesome. I'm not being one of those cheesy guys that's saying there's never been a better time than now to buy my program. This is about how I can help. This is about you making decisions, because these rock bottoms, this cyclical cycle of economy, of expansion, peak, contraction, and trough or recession happens every 7 to 12 years. Did you know that house prices double every 12 years? That's the cycle of all these economic things that history tells us. Now, we could be in a cycle that's out with the normal historic processes, but I doubt it. I doubt it. Because it's a standard thing. These things tend to stay in their normal cycles of life, no matter what they are. So when at rock bottom, don't do what everybody else is doing. Do something different. Honestly, I'm with you, by your side, helping you to get there, doing what I can for you. And thank you for listening tonight. You've been a wonderful audience, as always. I will see you the same time next Tuesday night, and it will probably be more relevant trainings that is going to help you. But remember, get on the Get Ready to Rise group, Get Ready to Rise group and page. I will post the links, and then you can participate in the challenge and maybe win yourself some goodies over the next week. Love you all. Have a fantastic evening, and see you all really, really soon. Bye for now. Have an awesome time.